Hello everybody. Today I'm going to talk about an important topic in this course called Group War, and the topic today is how pandemic spreads. Okay, let's start. My name is Jorge Eliezer Lopez Castaño and I am from Colombia. I mean Colombian, and this video is for the people that is seeing me right now in the course called Effective Group Work. Okay, what pandemic is? I was looking for information in Word reference, and it says that the pandemic is a spread among humans throughout an entire country or continent or the whole world. The pandemic, it causes effects in the people like maladies, and other kinds of sicknesses. Okay, then in a nutshell, a pandemic is an outbreak of an infectious disease that spreads through a large region, like a continent. Most people have little to immunity to them. A pandemic is determined by how the disease spreads, not by how many deaths it causes. Okay, over here we can make a difference, and it's that the pandemic between the epidemic. Then the epidemic is, it can refers to a contagious infection or viral illness that spreads to many people in one specific geographic. Like you can see, this is a kind of geographic. And for instance, an outbreak of the swine flu, an example is United States, that could be considered an epidemic as long as the infection is limited just to the United States. Then this is a big example. For example, this is a continent. This is a continent, and this is an epidemic just in this country. But a pandemic can refers, or it can appear from the epidemic. It's like an epidemic, but the pandemic refers to a contagious infectious or viral illness that is spread. However, unlike an epidemic, a pandemic is not limited to one specific geographic region. Instead, a pandemic has the potential to include millions of people in many areas and countries across the world. And then we can explain this like this is just a country, and the people is infected just by the epidemic. But if over here there were many more countries, it could be a pandemic. It's in more people, not just in this place, but over here is pandemic. Just thinking that this is different countries, it convert, or it can arise and pandemic. Then in the next slide I'm going to explain it better, so I hope you can understand what is the difference between this. Then why are epidemics and pandemics a relatively recent phenomenon in human history? Regarding the video that we saw in TED, it says that in this globalized world, a single infected person can board a plane and spread a virus across the continent. Then does it mean that if the person had an epidemic and travel, for example, to my country, Colombia, and if he is sick, he can contagious the other people of that epidemic, and that's how start a new pandemic. And then that's the relation that has the epidemics and pandemics in this recent phenomenon in human history. I think it's because of planes. the travel agencies has made that people can transport each other to different countries, for example, from United States to Canada or Japan, China, different countries, and meanwhile that people travel, it can contagious other people of an epidemic, and throughout the world it can become in a pandemic. It's something similar, but it's not really similar. It has a big difference because, like I said before, the epidemic is just in one part of the continent and the pandemic is in all over the world. Then, for example, this person it's me and I have a illness or a epidemic, and I I get in touch with you, then I'm going to contact you about that epidemic. Then you talk with other people. For example, if you have the flu and you talk with other people, you're going to contagious the other people from the flu. Then it becomes an epidemic because it's just one social circle. But that kind of people, they travel to other countries and it becomes in a pandemic because it's all over the world, something like that. After I contagious that people, then the world is going to get worse because he's having a problem with the people, and the health in each person is not going to be the same. Okay, in our increasingly globalized world, a single infected person can board a plane and spread a virus across continents. Mark Honisbach describes the history of pandemics and how that knowledge can help halt future outbreaks. Okay, that is what I want to talk about the pandemic and epidemics and how can it spread. And an advice that I would like to give you is to be careful about the people you talk about and the people that you intertwine, because that kind of person, it can have an epidemic and it can spread that epidemic to you, and after you do that you're going to spread the sickness to other person, and it's very bad. It's not just with people, it can occur too with animals. Then I would like you to be careful, and thank you for watch this video. Have an excellent day today and always. I hope God bless you. Thank you so much for seeing me.